I'm glad to see you on our Yespo YouTube channel. And thank you for joining us today, because today's conversation is about gap between AI promises and e-commerce reality, and what is really takes to turn potential into results. So please welcome our today's speakers. Today we have Danchenko, co-founder and Chief Operational Officer at Yespo, and Dmytro Shapovalov, Chief Business Architect and Partner at Liki24. Hi, guys.
Hello. Hello, Sergey.
What a day and what a pleasure to have you here today. And by the way, for our audience, for our Bulgarian audience, I want to note that next week in Sofia, the Balkan e-commerce summit will take place, where both of our speakers will represent their companies and present our joint case. So you will have a great opportunity to meet them there in person and continue conversation around the topic from today's online event. So take this chance.
It's like a warm-up today.
Yep.
Let's start today, and we can continue in Balkan e-commerce summit in person.
Exactly. So let's move on, and let's move to the first part, and let's begin with the personal side of the story, okay? Because most people can point to the moment when AI shifted from industry noise to something that they had to take seriously. And when did you realize the AI was not just a buzzword, but something that could genuinely matter for your business? It's the first question.
Maybe let me start, Alex, if you don't mind.
You're welcome.
So I think for me it happened in two steps. But before that, we will dive deeper, I'd like to highlight one important point. So when we say artificial intelligence, we often mix different things. So it could be like classical machine learning algorithms, generative AI tools like ChatGPT based on LLMs, and now more complex things like AI agent. And actually, machine learning and LLMs is not new. And I remember even in university 20 years ago, we had courses about it, like about algorithms, system availability, and how different models can behave. So answering the question, the first moment for me was when we started using classical machine learning algorithms quite early at Liki24 to solve real business questions. And one of the examples was like we would like to predict customer behavior based on multiple data sources to identify patterns and estimate the probability of orders, denials, or returns of few customers. And that approach allows us to significantly reduce denials rate. That was like the first moment when I realized that AI, like let's say algorithms, can give the good effect. And the second came with generative AI. It was only 1 year ago. I remember it was a big conference in London where the whole event was about AI, like talks, every presentation. But when it came to real use cases, I was shocked. It was just a few, and they were only simple. For example, like product categorization. Something you have like blue t-shirt, and the model will extract attributes like colors and type. And I remember I was like two thoughts. The first one was, wow, we in Liki24 already use it and doing it. And the second was that AI is real, but the gap between talking and doing is really huge. So that was the two moments for me. And you, Alex?
Yeah, for me, it also, honestly speaking, didn't start with ChatGPT boom. It came much, much earlier. So as a marketing platform, we started in like 2013. And we were email marketing platform that time. But already around 2016, we could feel that personalization is a real key to effective communication. And in e-commerce, specifically, this industry is very rich in behavioral data, all those signals like product views, every added to cart event, every conversion, every touch point across different channels. All of this was like super important, like vital for building effective communications. But at that time, similar technologies were not called AI. There was a different buzzword. It was big data then.
Big data, yeah.
And we had some big data conferences and a lot of blah, blah, blah around big data. So for us, the tools that process like huge amounts of data points that we collect for our customers was not like an option. It was a foundation of the Yespo as a solution for these customer communications. And that's probably the time when our first predictive models were developed. And in 2019, we took the next step and start building those predictive models for our customers, not at scale yet, but as some pilot solutions. Like I remember the quite interesting case when we worked with product called Retouch Me. And our data science team developed a predictive model that was identifying potential VIP users of this mobile application early. Basically, after 7 days of usage, it was able to predict the VIP status of this customer in future with 99% probability. And that was a huge leap forward for the team of Retouch Me, because they managed to focus their efforts and speed of responding the request depending on the potential level of a customer. And eventually it brought them about 35% increase in VIP users, because they were apportioning them more attention than those who will not convert. And in numbers of sales, it also gave them 17% more revenue in 3 months. So that was the moment when I was feeling that, okay, that this actually works. And so when in 2023, the whole industry started saying about generative AI and chat GPT, and in general, like content generation, it was like more or less common thing for us. Though, of course, generative capabilities are different from predictive ones. So I guess the answer to the question, how long ago do you first encountered AI, what we call an AI? Yeah, so elements of AI are on the market for a while, and I think that the future of AI is still somewhere between generative capabilities, which helps us to transform the data that we get from predictive models into human-like form, and that's probably what we will see next.
Okay. Talking about 2023, you remind me that meme with DiCaprio. So I'm the guy who use it. I know it much before you. But actually, when you talk about all these conferences about big data and all of this excitement, I think you agree that very quickly the question becomes less about excitement and more about judgment. So I want to move to the next question and to discuss the following. How do you personally, both of you, decide what to trust AI with and what not to trust it with? So please,
that's a great question. So for me, honestly, it's very practical. It's always between the balance between efforts and the results. So for example, if task is simple, clear, structured, data-driven, or repetitive, I can trust AI quite a lot, especially when it can do some things much faster than humans. Like the same example was the product categorization or like customer support automation. It's obvious in those cases you should use AI to be effective, to have less cost, to be more efficient. AI can help you to generate more and more money. But the next point, if something is more strategic or unclear, I don't rely, personally, I don't rely on AI directly, and I use it more like a tool to help me think. Not to give the final answer, and I don't rely on that final answer. So I used it as a tool to help me think, to structure, to challenge me with some questions and with the different roles. And it's always like to came to something you need. That part, if it's unclear, it requires like iterations, better prompts, better data, etc. So I would say that AI is very good for execution, but still needs humans to control and time to time to the final decision.
Great. Alex, thoughts?
I think I would look at this question from a slightly different point of view, so I completely agree with Dmitry. So to me, as a solution, we use AI every day. Thousands of our customers use AI every day. Millions of their customers use AI by Yespo every day. It's built into the product recommendations on the web pages. It's in product recommendations in triggers. It's in predictive segments. It's also in decisions about what offers to promote today. So a lot of decisions on a business level are already delegated to some form of AI algorithms. So I do trust it, and I see the results every day. On the other thing, I still feel that there are some situations when this trust should be earned first. And it's trust when I do not know what type of data is used for AI to produce the answer on. And basically, if we do not have clean, reliable, and AI-ready data, then it's hard to expect that that any AI agent will be able to process this data, structure it properly, will remove all unnecessary noise, and give you the final result if you don't know what to exclude. So you, in the first place, should understand what type of data should be used to answer your question. And of course, the prompts and guardrails and rechecking by a different agent the answers might help you here. But what we see is that, with the AI agent, there is a root phrase, but fits here, like shit in, shit out. So if you put in something that makes no sense, it's hard to expect that we will have some good decisions from AI if we do not provide it with good and relevant data. So that's why AI-ready data is one of the fundamentals. So for me, question sounds more like not whether do I trust AI, it's about whether I trust the data points that AI will make a decision on.
Cool, but you mentioned AI agents. I have some question here. So for example, if you have how do you treat it? If you have 3 different AI agents and each of them has, let's say, 95 probability of good results. And if you multiply 95% of probability by 95 by 95, at the end, you will have 85% of the final result. So, and the question is here, so your thoughts. You can give the super good data to each agent, but if you use it continuously, the final result could be, in that case of multiplying, 15% of the cases of results will be not that you expect. So how do you Maybe you have some experience how to solve that problem.
I think it should work the other way around. So instead of presuming, okay, if we have 95% of probability, so we have 5% of mistake. So if we have 5% of mistake and then we use a different algorithm to check this mistake, so we multiply mistakes. Because if so basically we are looking for the point where both of them are wrong, which means that on the even next step, you will have, instead of 5% probability, you will have, how much is it, like 0.25% of probability of a mistake. If you add just one more, it will be 0.0125% of probability of mistake of 3 continuous mistakes by 3 different agents. So basically, that's how you reduce the mistakes.
Okay.
A little bit of mess.
Okay, you are running a bit fast because I have a scenario, and let's thank you first of all, but let's move from mindset to execution and talk about where AI is delivering real value, not just expectations. Okay, so I want to move to next question, and it is the following. For both of you, okay? Where in e-commerce are you seeing AI deliver consistent, measurable results, not a one-time spike, but real business impact? So let's high up the stakes and discuss the real results, real money, and so on.
I guess that's one of the most important questions: how AI can help you in your business needs, not just like in personal stuff. I can start with Liki24 with the cases, but before, let me give you a bit of the context about Liki24. So we are vertical health and wellness marketplace with cross-border deliveries, and we have around like 3 million customers, 200,000 different SKUs, multiple sellers from like countries, and multiple demand countries. What does it mean? It means that we call it like cross-border corridors, like around 80 different cross-border corridors, and all of that hundreds of thousands products came through those corridors. The complexity is huge. And like the first point. Second, we are data-driven company, and we don't look at AI as something nice to have. Of course, like each of us use it every day, but in terms of company, we look into those tools to answer the very simple things. Does it reduce cost, or does it help us to generate more money? So like it's efficiency about the cost, or it's growth, or something that's related to the money, to the revenue. And here I have 3 examples from our side with real impacts of AI. The first is, let's start with the simplest and more harder. The first, regarding the customer support. So we operate across different multiple countries. Like it means different languages, different regulations, different customer behaviors. And if seller, let's say we mentioned like Balkan e-commerce site, seller from Bulgaria want to sell to Italy, to Portugal, to UK. So the seller should handle all of that, like different languages, and that's the barrier for the sellers. And we as a marketplace, we help them. And before AI, everything was made by human agents. And of course, we implement AI, and right now we structured our support staff into 2 levels. Like first line is with AI agents, and the second with the humans. And even in our regulated niche, of course, not all the questions or requests could be solved automatically with generative AI, but even in our niche, up to like 30-50% of customer requests are fully covered or resolved by AI. And what does it mean for business? It means that like same team can handle 2 times more volume, or vice versa. The cost per order for support is roughly like two times lower. And that's the one point. Second, or maybe we can just. I don't want to like talk about all of the cases. Alex, maybe your case, and then I can continue with my.
I actually wanted to ask you one
Yeah.
question that I keep thinking about in regarding of customer service. So when do you think will it be possible to substitute an actual human in the customer support to the agent, as they can speak already quite naturally, they can distinguish the speech perfectly, they can find answers quicker than human. So what's your thinking about it?
I guess the first answer, it depends on the niche of the business. Let's say if, like, simply from Liki24, like half percent of the all requests covered by AI. But if I like exclude the questions related to the health, which AI can't handle, and keep only the, like, let's say, e-commerce question, what's about my order, why this product is better, and if you compare, let's say, some, I don't know, some electronics, I guess it's like AI can handle not a 50% like in Liki24, but 90, 95. And some cases still will be by humans, but in nearest future it's could be done only, and like 99, maybe 98% could be covered by different agents.
Yeah, because just today I I gave to Claude, the AI agent that I use, my blood tests that I took several years in sequence to refresh like what were the findings in the previous ones. So without going to any doctor, just in 3 minutes, I have very detailed report with analysis of dynamics, of metrics, what to look at, what to measure additionally on the next checkup. So when you said that if there are questions related to healthcare that AI cannot answer, but actually it can.
It can, but the question is, for example, if we talk about, like, we have a lot of requests when people try to choose between some medications, and if this medications not not even OTCs that you can go to the pharmacy without prescription and buy some medications. If that medications like prescription, so you should be aware that the answer, like, it's trusted. Why? Because it's simply related to the health, and some things could be happen. So not all of the points could be resolved. And nice example you mentioned with the Claude with blood test. Of course, it will change a lot of businesses, and especially, so even in Liki24 ecosystem, we had one company called Nasnaga. It's for preventive health, and before AI, we use it as health coaches based on your analysis, gave your personalized like treatment or supplements, whatever. Right now, all of that, like 90%, it's with the help of agents with the Claude, but still like personalized human recommendations. Why? Because simply health coach take into consideration not only one factor like a blood pressure, but your all the picture, and can suggest some things that can't be done by artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm. You know what I want to try next? I want to try to offload all the data points from my health app on iPhone in the past years, feed it to Claude, and see what insights he will find.
Nice idea.
Okay.
Share the results after.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to the actual examples and answering Sergey your question.
Mm-hmm.
So where AI delivers consistent, measurable results. So basically, that's what I meant before. So personalization in customer communications and in general, e-commerce is very well-structured field where AI can work effectively. And based on behavioral sequences of each user, you can quite easily predict what could be the better product for him. And it's also plays a huge role in businesses, because when you provide relevant information, it's not just like a psychological trick that if you show people something that they've seen before, they will react on it better. So it also works, but it's also a caring about the customer, helping him to find the proper product quicker, in less clicks, give him really relevant additional offers. So you've been looking at these types of sneakers, but we also have these types that also fit you. They are on stock, they are on sale, they fit your size, they fit the color you like. So basically that's caring about the customer, and customers see it and feel it, and that's how it brings the extra value to the business.
Yeah, and for me, I absolutely agree with that. So, other example from Liki, like more advanced, not the customer support. We call it AI Health Assistant, and the idea is not just like, let's say, show some products with better alternatives or like cheaper or faster option, but we gather a lot of data of how our customer behave, how many times they spend on this product, why, and based on the data we can help customers like to find the better solution. And it's not only about the products in a nutshell, so you can compare vitamin C from one manufacturer to vitamin C from another and send like some guidance to the customer, but more, let's say, if customers spend much more time to find some supplements and then didn't make a decision, we can come back and explain why. What was the blocker? So you didn't find an answer because you didn't find the product, or you stacked customer reads the description of some product and then don't make a decision. We can realize what should do. So, and we build that, gather the data, build the agent. Right now it's still a pilot, but it in some cases it shows plus 30% in increasing in average order volume, and for other cases 40-50% in retention for customers. But the big idea is that we will get more and more data, train our models, and find out how health and wellness, let's say customers who would like to buy health and wellness products, how they think and how we can help them to be more healthy here.
Okay, great. And by the way, I'm very grateful that both of you bring us back from discussion of Alex's personal healthcare moments, because what I really want to discuss next is that both of you have actually worked together on a real implementation of AI solutions, and I'm pretty curious, how did it look from both sides? So my first question is for Alex. What did Yespo offer to Liki24, and what were you are trying to solve in this case? Can you share with us, please?
Yeah, of course. Historically, we started working in 2022. And it was at the moment when Liki24 understood that they already overgrew the platform for communications they used before. And when we met, the team of Liki24 came to us as already as a pharma marketplace operating across 10 European countries. And the previous setup were keeping all the communications in separate systems. So the personalization, automation were basically impossible. And the goal was to make it feasible for a team that wanted to expand even further to build everything on one platform with single customer profile was vital thing. And together we started with launching 12 key triggers for e-commerce. And in particular, I'm very proud about the trigger called regular demand. It is AI-powered trigger that analyzes customer purchase history, calculates when they're likely to run out of a specific type of medication, and sends a replenishment reminder in a few days before, so without any human involvement. Basically, it's not just for pharmacies, it could work in different types of business, but here it's especially difficult and especially important to be caring about people that, it's really hard based, again, getting back to my healthcare problems. It's really difficult to keep taking pills every day at the same time. Just that thing is difficult for me. But it's important to care about people, knowing that sometimes they get distracted, sometimes they will be like very unhappy if they do not have the necessary medicine in the proper moment of time, because it's actually caring about the customers. That's one thing. And on top of that, we launch personalized AI product recommendations which is like very unique thing by that moment of time, in triggered communications, in emails, but also in mass campaigns. And all that was built on our new transformer model of product recommendations. And here the transformer word is also the same word that we use in, for instance, in ChatGPT, because GPT, those like capitalized letters, they actually responsible for generative pre-trained transformers. And those transformers, the same logic that we apply to generating new sentences word by word, in the same way, our product recommendations from Yespo, they also take into account what would be the next best, but not a word, but the next action to continue the conversation, to continue the story of a customer, to continue his path as a consumer. And that was like really, really interesting in terms of implementation because of the complexity of the product. And I believe that we are doing quite well since then. I believe that vendor-client relationship is really tested now. So after 4 years of cooperation, we are going to the next level, working together on the new markets. I'm very happy about it.
Yeah, that's great. Let me share from our perspective, maybe some sort of...
Because Alex mentioned vendor-client relationship, and of course, Dmytro, I want to know what do you think from your side? Did the results match to your expectations? Please tell us more.
Yeah, so back then, as Alex mentioned, so in 2022 we started and we shifted all of our communications like from different platforms. We use Yespo as a multi-channel communication engine for different countries, clients, and all of that complexity that I explained previously. And when we started, honestly, we were not 100% sure. Like, of course, we believe in the idea that it should work, but there were some doubts. Let's say how accurate the first was how accurate it would be in terms of recommendations, and the second, whether it would be real business impact, not just the funny tools with recommendation, but how it will influence our business. And once our teams, I mean both like Liki24 and Yespo teams, implemented this project, the results honestly were even stronger than we expected. So Alex mentioned 2 points that we use, let's call it like recall AI recommendation stuff. So we use it for 2 parts, so for mass emails and for triggered workflows. And results different, of course, but for mass emails, it gave us up to plus 100% in clicks and 70 plus 70% of conversions. So you can, I don't want to share the
It's huge.
like commercial part of, but you can calculate and imagine. And with triggered workflow, the biggest impact was like up to 300% increase in CTR, which leads is plus like roughly 30% of conversion. So it's a real huge results. And most important for us, it was that like email communication now became like more important source of revenue for us, and it came around like maybe up to 8% of total revenue is generated through email communication. So I mean, it's not only for like generally to have just omnichannel communication tool to have communication. So it's a source of revenue for us, and so thanks from all the team from our side to make this happen, and we are really looking forward to continue and to implement new things here.
And again, it reminds me that take that email communication is dead, blah, blah, blah. You have such an impressive result, so I think it's obvious that this makes no sense, about the email. Okay, my favorite part.
But I'd like to add one point here. So like one of the important part, it's like proper implementation. That's the key part. I mean, you can have a lot of tools, but if you don't understand how to implement it or how to get the result, it will be impossible. And here's a huge thanks to Yespo teams that they help us and guide and work together to implement it and to get the results, not just give us a tool. It would be like nice to have tool, or
it's about the synergy. I agree.
Yeah, and thank you for the kind words. And I just wanted to add a little bit about what type of complexity and flexibility in our cooperation was. Like probably everybody knows that the industry that Liki24 operates in, the pharma, is very much regulated. And there are some limitations in you can't recommend prescription medication, you cannot suggest sensitive products to wrong audience. So the traditional e-commerce recommendational algorithms could not be like directly implemented, and the special guardrails for the system were not existing the moment we started working together. So we had to take into account the requirements of a business, and we have added some custom execution rules for sensitive categories. We added fallback logic. If a user only browses prescription products, then we should not take into account what he was looking at, but we should be able to rapidly show him some general use alternatives. There should have been thought through and implemented cross-category relationships that AI could better understand the pharmaceutical product connections that they have in between, and manual repurchase period calibration by category, because like different types of medications require different replenish cycle, and like for vitamins it's like about a month usually. For different types of products could be like different periods, so this also could be taken into account. And these 4 layers of additional custom compliance logic were designed and implemented together with Liki24, and only after that mutual, complex, and sometimes difficult work gave such great results. It's not just one-side game. It's just only in cooperation we could get this.
Sure.
Great. Thanks for sharing your experience, both of you. But in the next block, I want to come back to maybe more theoretical part, but pretty interesting as for me, because on my opinion, wrong expectations are one of the biggest challenges in AI implementation. So let's try to unpack why that happens, okay? And the next question is why do service providers, on your opinion, and service providers and e-commerce businesses often have such different expectations when it comes to AI?
I guess. Let me start. Maybe like the answer is simpler because they live in different realities or in different words. Vendors like much often vendors talk about what is possible. Like AI is a possibility. But operators deal with messy data, legacy system, limited resources, complexity, etc. So the expectations are very different. Like from the outside, AI looks like automation and growth. Sounds like a silver bullet, like to get 1 billion revenue and become rich. Super. Just let's implement AI, etc. But inside of operators, like a lot of work before anything start to give you the results, and that may be one of the part of different expectations, because we look to the same tool possibility from different angles or from different universes or realities.
Yeah, I would also add to this that sometimes it's like, first of all, it's natural. Yeah, we do not share the same mind yet, but we see we might see the goal in different angles, and for a vendor usually we, including us, come to some idea that could be beneficial for the customer, and we even have some positive feedback from customers. Yeah, we want it, it's super. Let's do that. But it still doesn't work eventually sometimes as it was expected, though it like functionally is exactly what we agreed on. But just because of falling in love with the solution, sometimes makes us I don't know, maybe I'll put it strictly, it makes us stupid. We fall in love with the solutions that we made, and we want everyone to use it and to be happy about it, but we forget about the problems that we had to solve. And I think that one of the most important things for the teams to work efficiently together is to work around the problem, not about the solution. The goal is not to implement Yespo in your company. It's not about like implement web tracking or triggering some emails, or even in broader sense to implement AI. That's like absolutely nonsense if we have the goal to implement AI in our business. We should find the problem first, and then there is this problem with any stack of solutions that would do the job. And that's it seems to me is the best approach.
Absolutely agree. Yeah.
Okay, but for me, it's not that easy to understand because, for example, if we are talking about AI is still, not still, but AI is really delivering results, what is the point of fear? Why do more than, for example, 80% of companies still not see it in their P&Ls? Or some of them really never move beyond pilot mode. So what's the point? Is this a fear, misunderstanding of or what?
I guess like the biggest hidden challenge in AI adoption in every company It's implementation. Implementation. Let me give you a few examples. For example, development. It's easy. People just, developers, coders, they just naturally start using tools like Claude Code or OpenAI Codex. Why? Because it's natural, it makes them more productive, efficient, faster, etc. So it's like easy to implement, and right now it's one of the biggest part of all of usage of AI and infocode. But in operations, even with simple, I don't know, okay, in our business, it's not a simple one, but still, so in operations complexity absolutely different, because you need, like, to implement AI, you need structured data, defined process, clear logic for every case you would like to implement, let's say even in customer support. And most of companies don't have this. So it's a huge homework to prepare your, let's say, background, like infrastructure, to be ready to implement AI, to understand the problem, what you would like to sell, to understand what kind of data you need to solve that, not just using a tool. That's one point. The lack of that, let's say, basic things to start to using AI. And the second is resources. Like managers typically have maybe 80-90% of workload and only 10% of capacity for innovations. So as a result, like AI, all of the AI initiatives are not properly implemented, and that's one of the important things. So what's happened? People try using AI, it doesn't work perfectly, or don't give you the results you expect, and they stop or give up. Because why? Because the real implementation, even with our cases with Yespo, so we started implement. So it's a hard work, and it requires iterations, times, dedicated people, resources, and willingness of management to get the final result. So, and you can't do it just simply as a side project. And during these conferences, I spoke with a lot of companies, with executives even. Like we have our mainstream, and besides that, some AI initiatives. In that case, it doesn't work. It will be as a pilots or some small cases, yes, but it's hard to implement AI in your real operations if you will not see it as a like something you have to do this is similar importance in your main activities.
Yeah, I would also support it with the same idea with recent research from Shopify that they analyzed the problems that occur with implementing AI, and despite sometimes AI delivers this wow effect of like quick solution for like some tedious work that we hate, and we are very happy about the I can analyze the whole, I don't know, like 100 pages report in a few minutes. I will have it condensed, I will have it like highlighted the main ideas, and it like really helps a lot. I'm a huge fan of Notebook LM, for instance, like an additional tool for understanding some new topics and better just digesting the information, because when they just can provide you the information in more feasible, digestible format than just pure text with tables and formulas. But even if we are happy about the initial first like 5 minutes of usage, to implement it on a scale of a whole organization, and it's highlighted in this report, the typical problems, which include technical integration, challenges with purity and quality of the data, lack of talents, and organizational resistance, they're still there. They do not disappear. And in order to implement something on a scale of the whole organization, there's like pretty pretty difficult just because of because it's hard to make it working as a tool for like hundreds of people, taking into account millions of data points instead of just 10, for instance. So that's normal thing, and I think eventually we will go there. And B2B software development companies are already working on implementing the elements of different types of AI, including generative, in their workflows. And what we see is that more and more tools that were previously difficult to operate, like for instance, like operating the with Google Cloud tools. It was difficult if you're non-technical. You could not like start some cloud run for your periodical analysis, but now you do not think about that you need to host something, you need to start some script. You don't even think about whether the script has to be in Python or I don't know, on TypeScript or whatever. You just delegate it to AI and it does. But this just first 5 minutes of work, and after that, you when you try to scale it, that's the most difficult part. But we are trying our best to deliver it to the business as soon as possible.
Okay. Great, guys. I want to finish this event with something actionable, to be honest. And for example, if someone is watching this right now and wants to move forward, I want you to give a short to-go list from each of you. I believe that a few points from this list you might mention before, but let's do a short sum up, and let's start with Alex. What should technology service providers do differently to actually support e-commerce businesses during implementation? The shorter, the better.
Okay, the short, like as usually, the short answer is harder than the long answer. I'd say that we have customers that using like incredibly powerful tools, and they are able to use it right away, like predictive segmentation, omnichannel triggers, AI recommendations. But most of them underuse even those solutions that are already on the market. They are proven, they have good feedback, and they even during this video you heard a lot of positive feedback from Dmytro, who uses this every day and on a huge scale across many markets with millions of customers. And you can still find people who use tools similar to Yespo with similar to Yespo capabilities, and they do just simple mass mailings, and that's it. So what I would recommend as a actual next step in this case, you just need to rethink of what you do now, find the gaps where the even current tools could be implemented. Of course, if you do not know what exactly is problem with your business, where are the opportunities for you to grow, then it's good to contact someone who already has this experience, who already went through this way. Like for instance, Dmytro, and again, is and me are open to talk about any of these challenges you have, and to give you a hint about where to move. But to do this, we need to a little bit understand the situation, because it's different from business to business. And but we are open to share this experience. And once again, I want to invite you to Balkan e-commerce Summit. And also, we are even outside this conference, we are available online. You can ping me on LinkedIn. I think links to our profiles will be in the comments to this video. So we are open to share the experience we have and to share advice.
Thank you, Alex. And Dmytro, your part of words of wisdom, okay? What should businesses do to be better prepared for AI adoption? What do you think?
Like first part, I think then the biggest shift is in mindset. So, and here team readiness plays a critical role. So right now everyone says, I we use AI, but using, let's say, like ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, it's not the same as implementing AI. And I saw that companies still invest a lot in training, let's say, in sales, in marketing, in operation, whatever, but almost nothing in AI skills. And if AI is important, it should be treated like any other core competency. That's the first part, that regarding the team. And the second, like, if you really would like to implement something, that like four simple things. First, start with one real problem, just one real use case. Pick one. Let's say how to reduce support load, or how to speed up onboarding, or how to, I don't know, generate more revenue with the help of email marketing campaigns. And then ask yourself, can AI help here, or which kind of technologies or AI tools or solutions that already implement AI in the core will be suitable to solve this problem? Next point, like third one, train your team, prepare the needed infrastructure, it's data, processes, whatever, because simply without it, it wouldn't work. As Alex mentioned, if you have not so good things at the like in the input of the any algorithms, you will have the same piece of at the end. Yeah, and 4 point. So real problem, find the needed tool, invest or prepare the infrastructure, and iterate. Like do it, test it, measure, adjust approach, or change the tool, or change the model, or change the solution. So and make it this loop again and again until you finally get the result you need, or realize that okay, I can help here and just like give up and forget. But I'm sure with the proper partners you can implement and you can get the results you need.
Okay, thank you very much. Sounds like a pretty practical stuff, and I am sure we will cut this part for YouTube Shorts as a ready solution. And in the very end, I see a few questions, two only questions for both of you from our audience. So let's try to answer. And the first question is from Matei, and sounds like that: Is it better to build AI yourself or use ready-made solutions? Any thoughts, guys?
Then the answer is pretty simple. Depends on what you would like to do. So if you'd like to create the similar stuff as was created in Yespo or we implement in Liki as a AI health assistant, it's impossible. It would be really, really hard to do it yourself. But if you're talking about some AI agents that can help you with your daily work, or if you're in a small organization, for sure try to build yourself, even because it will simply give you much more understanding how it works. And if you later will choose ready-made solutions, you can understand that like some parts, like some stones, bottlenecks, and it could help you.
Yeah, I just could not agree more. My answer would be like nearly the same. I would say it's better to do both, but for different cases. For enterprise grade solution, definitely better to take something reliable that already works. But for any task you do yourself or internally for your team, it's worth trying to do it yourself, just to get this experience and to be ready to the next changes that will come eventually.
And maybe the question is more let me add also a couple of thoughts. Maybe the question is more advanced we think. So, for example, in Liki24, so we have one task of how to match different products from different markets. Like, look, the products is the same, but it's like different names, different, I don't know, pictures, whatever. And we started to use approach with like combined with machine learning plus LLMs, and start to use the LLMs like from some of vendors. Then we realized, okay, in our scale, it's too costly, and that's why we like train our own LLMs for that approach. So we tested with, let's say, ready-made solutions from OpenAI, and then realized, okay, it's work, but it's better for us in terms of even enterprise to develop our own LLM dedicated to that part of the business, train it, keep it in our infrastructure, because it will we will have the same results, but with less cost. So it also depends on the, agree absolutely with Alec, depends on cases or the problems or tasks you would like to use AI to solve for.
The most honest answer ever. It depends. Okay, thanks. And let's move to the next question. I believe you touched a few points about this earlier, but maybe you have something more to add. How do you talk to your team when people are worried AI might replace their jobs? Pretty tricky question, in my opinion.
Alex, please start.
To me, it's a very simple answer. I do like the phrase that I heard, I don't know, like 4 or 5 years ago. And after that, I several times used it in my own presentations, speaking on conferences. And there is a phrase, I unfortunately do not remember the original author of that, but the phrase is like very simple and very clear. It's not AI that will substitute people. It will be people with AI that will substitute people without AI. So that's my answer, short and clear.
Yes, I absolutely agree. And like, to be more practical, how do you talk? So first of all, it's about how to explain people that it's important. If anyway, not related to all of our team. Let's say if we as a Liki24, we have huge operational part with the couriers, with the deliveries, whatever. So in that case, maybe using some super nice AI tools, it's not super important. And I'm sure that AI will not replace couriers in the nearest future. Of course, some like robots, etc., but not the mass market. But if you talk about the head office, so first, like you explained that AI is just a tool to help them and to be more productive. And people with AI can give much more value to the company. And if someone is not understanding it right now, that's the question. That's the question.
Okay, not a very optimistic point in the very end.
No, it's very optimistic. So that's.
So we don't need to worry.
It's like look, it's the same. When I'm talking about the tools, the same like when first, maybe I don't know, some computers or Excels or etc. So Excel proficiency. I'm not about talking about proficiency, but using the Excel or Google spreadsheet to make your job better. It's obvious. It should be for any kind of managers or whole like, let's say, headquarters workers. The same as actually right now with AI tools. So it's, but that's one point. But still, it should be the culture in the company, culture for innovation, like to use it, to give some space for testing, to be like to spend some budgets or some money to test some tools, and of course, on the readiness and willingness of the people to use it.
It's all about the willingness. Actually, I totally agree with you. But yeah, now it sounds much more optimistic. Thank you, thank you for this point. Okay, guys, it was a really big pleasure to have you here today. It was a really interesting and insightful session. So thank you very much. And once again, for our visitors from Bulgaria, we are ready to discuss everything we talked for this hour during Balkan e-commerce Summit, which is starts on it's from 28th to 29th of April in Sofia. And for everybody from other countries, please feel free to write messages directly to Alex and Dmytro. I think they will be glad to discuss all this AI implementation stuff with you directly. So thank you guys for being with me here, and have a great day.
Have a good day. See you in Bulgaria.